All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. Dr. Arbeitman here, and I'm really excited to introduce a colleague and dear friend of mine, Dr. Shannon Connor, who practices out on the other side of the country in California. Hi, Doc.
Hello.
So, if you could introduce yourself and who you are and where your practice is and why you do the amazing work that you do.
All right, well, that's loaded. All right, so my name is Dr. Shannon Connor, and I practice a couple of techniques, a combination of NUCCA, which stands for the National Upper Cervical Chiropractic Association, and then Quantum Spinal Mechanics, a combination of the two. So we do the upper cervical work, just like you. And I have kind of quite a few tools in my tool belt. Why do I do what I do? I was saved by this work. I actually had a small stroke when I was 20, and this work saved my life. So there was kind of no option for me because it was, it's so exciting. I mean, your whole life, your whole world changes in a matter of minutes. And I wanted to do that for other people.
Wow.
So kind of that's what started me on my path. And then in my 20s, they found cancer cells in my blood. And so at that point, I'm very holistic. I always have been. I needed to understand why, what caused that, and then what could I do to turn that around. So I'm very well versed in cleansing and detoxing, and it took me about 8 years, but I rebuilt my body. So that was exciting because I didn't have to do any kind of traditional methods to heal myself. And what I've learned from all that is healing is an inside job. And so I really feel like it's a privilege that I get to help people really change their life and turn it around to really being health oriented as opposed to kind of disease oriented, and not just fixing a symptom, but getting to the cause. So I love learning. I'm always, that. I'm always at some seminar and learning because I always feel like I can be better for my patients, and there's always more information. And the more that we learn and the more that we can help, the better we can help mankind. So
what I love about you is you walk the walk. So there are a lot of healthcare practitioners that are doing amazing work, but you've lived it. You were a patient. You were helped. So many of us were.
yeah.
And so you come from a place of knowing, of true knowing, and
Yeah.
and that makes you a very empathetic practitioner in person. So obviously, you at this point with a long accomplished career, you have a tribe, you have a community that looks to you as their health leader. And now people are looking for leadership when it comes to their health more than ever because of everything that's happening in the environment. What is the message that you're putting out to your patients, those that are still coming in, and I know about half of your patients are coming in, and maybe those that you're just keeping in touch with through other means? What is your message right now?
My message. I mean, I think right now we have to take precautions, obviously, but the main thing is like your health is everything. Like you cannot buy your health once it's gone, right? And we're seeing people who are immunocompromised that are being affected by the virus, but you have to think well. That's like everything starts with a thought process. So if you walk in fear, you're going to attract things that are going to bring you down. So of course we take precautions, but the main thing is keeping your head straight with all of this going on and keeping your body aligned and healthy, and we do that in different ways. And I think the main thing is keeping it simple, right? Like we don't have to go crazy with all of it. Keep it simple, do things, create routines in your life where you're doing things every day to bring you closer to your optimal health. And if you're there, doing the things to keep you there.
Awesome. So let's give value. Let's give some very simple tactics, tricks, tips that you would recommend. And knowing you, you'll come up with some really original things. I break down wellness, and we talked about this ahead of time, into eat well, move well, and think well.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of an easy way to sort of look at the entire approach to how to approach our well-being. So why don't you give a few tips or tactics surrounding move well to begin here today?
Yeah, thank you. So of course, spinal alignment is number one. Your circuit board, your brain and your spinal cord control every other system of the body. And so if your brain isn't connecting properly to your immune system, which is vital right now, your digestive system, which actually your gut is 87% of your immune system. So connection between the brain and the body to every organ, tissue, and muscle is critical. So that's number one, right? Communication is always number one. So you got to make sure your alignment's there. And then movement, you got to exercise. And the fun thing that I'm doing right now, I know you have a Peloton, so do I, but they also have these dance classes. And I don't know if I told you or somebody else, but I think I'm dancing like Elaine in Seinfeld right now, but I'm doing it at home and I'm having fun, right?
That's
and
great.
so,
That's the case. Yep.
but I mean, finding something you love where you can move your body.
Sure,
And whether it's getting outside for a walk or finding things in your house to do, I've got stairs. I've been running the stairs, which I've never done before. So, you know, my legs are getting in shape. I'm toning up and it feels good, you know, so getting movement, getting the blood circulating is really important.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be a chore like, oh, I got to get my exercise in. Like, find the activity. If it's dancing like Elaine or jumping on a trampoline. I've got to tell a quick side story here that goes along with this. Our neighbors down the street, I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they drew with chalk, my neighbors did, who were probably like in middle school, a whole obstacle course down the street from their house to my house. And so on the chalk, on the street, they have to do hopping, they have to do leaping, they have to do jumping jacks, they have to dance. And so my 5-year-old son gets to the square that says dance, and he does the little Elaine dance. And so that's exercise, but they didn't even know they were exercises. They were so out of breath. They did this thing for an hour, this obstacle course that was just with a piece of chalk, but because it was fun, it was easy. And so that's the whole point. It really should not be a chore. And right now we have time. I think we have time. So, you know, that old excuse of like, oh, I would exercise if I just had time. There's really no excuse right now.
Yeah.
So go ahead. You wanted to add?
Well, what I'm really grateful for too is that, like, on Instagram or Facebook, there's all these different health fitness professionals that are doing free classes. You know, so if you were interested in trying out some kind of yoga or, you know, whatever, dance or working out. I love watching Molly Sims. She's got her kids in her arms, or she's got, you know, buckets or whatever it is, but using things around the house and just, you know, being creative, which is fun, like your neighbors.
That's
awesome.
That's awesome. Great tip. Great tip. And I think, you know, at this point, people know what they need to do. And really, we just want to give you some inspiration to say, all right, let me get started. Let's move on. Did you want to talk about eating well or thinking well next?
Well, I think eating well.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So what are some of your tips?
So I know, like, out there, everybody's talking about, you know, take this, take that, that kind of a thing. Obviously, if you can get your vitamins from your food, much better. So one of the things that I've incorporated every single day is I wake up and I squeeze a half a lemon in water and I drink that. So number one, I'm getting my vitamin C, and number two, I'm helping to flush my kidneys, which is always nice to do. Which just helps your body detox. And, you know, again, right now we want to keep our immune system strong. So giving our body things that will help alkalize us, which also lemons do, is really important.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
I just had a question on that. Do you do that in hot water, warm water, or cold water?
I like it in cold water, but I know it's good to do with warm water too. But I like it cold.
Got it.
And then you can drink it throughout the day too. So it's not like you just have to do that in the morning, but it's good to do.
Got it. Great tip.
Yeah. And then eating alkalizing foods. Like one of the things I didn't realize, but avocados are highly alkalizing, which is awesome because it's great fat, and then it helps to alkalize the body.
So just so the people who are listening understand acid versus alkaline, can you just speak to that specifically regarding infections and pathogens?
Right.
Yeah.
So the body is supposed to be in homeostasis. And so we have a range. And so what happens is when we go out of range, we become usually more acidic. And those conditions actually create the conditions for bacteria, for parasites, for the opportunity for viruses to proliferate. So whatever we can do to actually reduce the acidity in our body, we should do.
Right. So certain foods bring us more basic or alkaline, and certain foods, and you know what they are. They're the bad ones. The alcohol, the sugar will be more acid or acidic. And even water, which is supposed to be 7.0, oftentimes can be acidic. Some people actually invest in systems for their house that make their water more alkaline, above 7.0 pH. So we're talking pH now of the body. Yeah. Go on.
Well, you brought up sugar, and I don't know if most people know, but 1 teaspoon of sugar will paralyze your immune system for 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
So we have so much sugar in our foods. So I've just recently, I've been on the keto diet.
Okay.
And I've been looking at like I couldn't believe how I eat well and I juice and everything. And I did not realize how many grams of carbohydrates I was getting in a day, and being off sugar, because basically I have none now. I mean, I get my carbohydrates in my vegetables, but I'm not eating anything sweet. And if I do, I'm using stevia or monk fruit. But my sleep is so much better. The level of anxiety that I didn't even realize I had is gone, compared to, when I was having things with sugar. And when I say sugar, I mean like juice, because I wasn't having any kind of refined things, but having, big glass of juice with apple and everything in is a lot of sugar.
Look, this is a perfect example where this is two total ends of the spectrum. You can go really easy and say, I'm just going to start drinking some lemon water, which anybody can do that, and it's going to be good for you. Or you can say, you know what, I'm ready to tackle a big thing like my addiction to sugar, totally other side of the spectrum. And I think that when we get through this period of time, and there will be another side to it, if we can look back and say, wow, I was able to install this habit or change this habit over that period of time, it makes this period of time a win for you. And this is the piece during a time where there's so little we can control. But the one thing that we can control is what we do with this body and our behaviors and our choices. Great tips. Great tips. What about, go ahead.
One more thing is the getting out in the sunshine is the vitamin D, because everybody's so afraid of the sun. And what people need to understand is that cancer doesn't fly out of from the sun, land on your skin and start to grow. Cancer comes from the inside out. Again, that's why when you have to have something removed, it's much deeper below the surface. And UV light is critical. It's critical for our brain function. It's critical for vitamin D production. It's critical for our moods. So if you can just go outside, even if you don't want to spend a lot of time outside, sit outside for 20 minutes, close your eyes, no sunglasses on, and sun your eyes. Close your eyes and look up at the sun with your eyes closed. And that will help stimulate your brain. It will help stimulate your pituitary gland, which is your master control for all your hormones. It will stimulate the hypothalamus. It does all kinds of things that we don't even know the full spectrum of what it does. So that is really critical.
It's such a great point. It's so easy. Like, oh, I know I need to get sunshine. But right now in the Northeast, you're in Southern California where the sun always shines. But we're, here in the Northeast, we're coming out of a winter. And then we're on this lockdown. And then they took our parks away from us. So it's like, you have to take that concerted effort to go out into your backyard or go play hopscotch in the street like my kids are doing, or play ball. You have to carve that time out. And what Dr. Shannon's saying is, don't just lather on your sunscreen when you go out there. Go get your UVs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying sit out there for 3 hours and bake in the sun. I'm just saying, get some good UV light, and 20 minutes will do it for you.
20 minutes. There you go. Okay. So just great. Lots of gems for people. What about this concept of thinking well? The way that I've always looked at things is our thoughts precede our behaviors, our actions, and our outcomes. So like if you have limiting beliefs or negative thoughts or even just a poor outlook, you're not even going to even attempt to install the things that we just talked about. So, and then on top of whatever thought process is circulating around right now in people's minds, then there's the news and the current events that are just kind of chipping away at everybody's psychology. And there's some very real stress. So we don't want to put our head in the sand that what's happening isn't real, that people are suffering. Some people have been affected by this disease, or someone they love is affected by the disease, or being affected financially right now. All of that stuff is real. And we're not saying just go out and skip in the sun and everything's okay. But I'm going to let you take it from there.
Well, yeah. So fear causes us to go in what we call sympathetic overload, fight or flight, right? And you can't think there. You can't digest there. You can't sleep well there. So it's really important starting to look at what your triggers are. If you're watching TV and watching a certain thing is creating a feeling in your body, you need to stop that, right? And I think one of the things, I know to do this, but since all this has happened, I wake up every day and I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. And before I go to bed, I say what I'm grateful for. Because we have so much to be grateful for right now. And one of the things that I'm most grateful for right now is that I've slowed down and I'm able to look at my life and kind of get an opportunity to reassess, and see, hey, what's working, what's not working, how can I change things? Like, we have such a great opportunity right now because everybody's in the same place. And so just having gratitude for what we do have and what we can do and we can control. And really every day I'm grateful for my health.
That is so beautiful. And it's so real and authentic. And that's another, like putting lemon in water. It is so easy to do. It's easy not to do. I'm in my home office. And this is my little hustle book. I got this from Rachel Hollis. I went to her event, and there it is. Every day, we start out, we write down, I write down, I should say we. Today I'm grateful for, and there's 5 lines. And then the 10 dreams that I made happen as if they've already happened, and the goal that I want to achieve first. For me to fill this out, it takes me, I do it every day, so it takes me about 5 minutes because I did it the day before. And again, I'm working from my home office, and you're talking about being grateful, and I just hear my kids, and they may even be coming up on this Zoom interview. They're running around and making noise. And so it's such a great strategy, and one that we need to be practicing. And this whole idea of being forced to slow down, because as Americans, our culture, we were just running from one thing to the next and the next and the next, and not even there was no time to self-evaluate. And I think there's going to be great opportunities that come out of this time if you take the time to become self-critical and evaluate. I think everything's up for grabs. I think everybody's going to reevaluate everybody they ever hired, and maybe letting some services go and taking some new services in. Yeah. So I don't mean to talk over you because I want to talk with you, but what else did you have in addition to your attitude of gratitude?
Laughing. So 1 minute of laughing stimulates the immune system for 24 hours. 1 minute of anger paralyzes the immune system for 4 to 5 hours. So everybody has Netflix or some source, and I've been watching a lot of comedy, and you know, just being able to laugh and get lost in that, and just being in some joy, you know, because there's joy all around us, and we have the opportunity to see it now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Our emotions impact the chemistry of our body. Beautiful. Great tips. What else did you want to share?
Well, I think too, if you can incorporate a practice of meditation, I can't stress enough the changes that that's made for me. I have followed Dr. Joe Dispenza, and really I spend an hour, sometimes 2 hours a day in meditation right now. And what it does is it gets your brain waves calmed down. And again, it helps your brain chemistry, and it also helps your immune system. So I'm really, you know, getting my focus in the right direction, because there's only so many things we have control of. We're really learning that right now, and we can control ourselves. And by helping our bodies and boosting everything, that's how we get through this.
So if you were talking to one of your patients who was feeling anxious and feeling stressed, and you were making this recommendation of, you know, perhaps incorporate a daily meditation in as a way to counter that, and they said, I don't even know where to start, where would you recommend for someone who's never meditated? Because it is a practice. It's like taking up yoga. Like, you have to practice and get better at it. Where could someone start?
Well, there's so much available on YouTube, and I really, really like Dr. Dispenza's things, because they're usually an hour long. So when you start meditating, your brain is go, 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 talk, chatter, chatter, at least for me it does. And, you know, you're aware of things in your body and all kinds of stuff. So it's good because you start going inward and you start being able to see your own patterns. So I think doing an hour and whatever resonates, you can just go onto YouTube and type in meditations, and there's evening ones, which are different than morning ones. Morning ones will stimulate you, evening ones will bring you down, and having a place in the house to do it. Beautiful. That's not on your bed, because then you fall asleep if you start going deep into it. But yeah, just taking that time for yourself. And I think we have the time now. So why not start a good habit and a good practice while we have the opportunity to do it?
Right. Great advice. That's one that's come up in many of the interviews is meditation. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a spiritual thing, or, you know, you need to be able to have all your thoughts leave your mind in the beginning. Using a guided visualization is really helpful. And I'll put Dr. Dispenza's link in the email so that people can check that out, because he is a gift. As we close down here, I know you're one of the most positive people I know. What is a positive message that you'd like to leave everybody with during this time?
Well, I think I was looking at different things last night, and this just resonates with me so much right now, because I'm learning to function differently. So life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. it just resonates so much with me, because we all have the opportunity right now to learn how to dance and dance differently, right?
Yeah.
Some people dance the salsa, some people want to waltz, some people want to cha-cha, but you know, we all have our style. And
some people dance like Elaine.
That's right. I'll send you that. No, I won't.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. I think that anybody that listened to this got just a ton of value. You truly are a gift to our profession and humanity, and I thank you for all that you do. And I wish you and all of your community and everybody in this world stays very healthy and well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.